Hello, good afternoon. The Ecobank Journeys Habitat Fair mini clinic in Tema comes off tomorrow, Friday, the 25th of July, 2025. Welcome to the Midday News. The Midday News is live on Joy 99.7 FM, hits 103.9 FM here in Accra. We're live on Love 99.5 in Kumasi, myjoyonline.com. We're also live in all 16 regions of Ghana via various affiliates, live on X Spaces and Facebook. The Midday News is supported by Petrosol Platinum Energy, energizing dreams coming up, expectations, assumptions and appeals, all ahead of government's mid-year budget review presentation expected in the next couple of hours.
Ghanaians will be saddled with some increase in the region of some 30 to 40% on all government services.
One thing that is top on the list of my expectations, like the finance minister won't ask for more money.
Well, we are live in Parliament House where we are told the minority is threatening to boycott the presentation. Meanwhile, the Deputy Finance Minister has also been responding to the minority's claim that the economy has stabilized because government is not spending. Also coming up in sports.
Well, after the disappointment of that semi-final loss, the Black Queens of Ghana are ready for redemption against South Africa.
These and more coming up with me, Maame, Nyamekye, Thompson. This is Joy News, independent, fearless and credible. While ahead of the mid-year budget review to be presented by the Finance Minister, some Ghanaians have outlined what they expect from government. The review is being delivered against the backdrop of notable improvements in Ghana's macroeconomic indicators, which have raised expectations for a fiscal policy stance that promotes consolidation, investor confidence, and long-term price stability. Inflation, which stood at 23.5% at the beginning of the year, dropped significantly to 13.7% by the end of June 2025. This disinflation trend has led analysts to believe that Ghana could have achieved single-digit inflation before the end of the year, ahead of the official target of 11.9%. We'll go to Parliament shortly for updates, but listen to the economic policy advisor to the Office of the Vice President, Dr. Sharif Mahmood Khalid, indicating a domestic investor push component in the review. He spoke on the Super Morning Show. Well, we'll get back to that sound shortly. We are fixing some technical challenges. While an economist and senior lecturer at the University of Ghana Business School, Dr. Priscilla Chumesi-Bafo, notes there's a need for deliberate efforts to bring in necessary investment to steer up and generate growth.
Over a long period of time to protect and sustain the stability you see. Is the stability we see surprising to us? Not necessarily. We know that under a fund program, usually the emphasis is on austerity. Government needs to keep its expenditure on track, consolidate expenditure so that you don't go overboard. And when you look at it, you see that government expenditure has really been constrained. Government has been very conservative. Borrowing appetite is very low. You see that rates have really come down, particularly when you look at treasury bill rates, which is a good indicator of government's appetite for borrowing. And so in that context, you see that we are managing really with the emphasis on stability, but then post-stability is growth. Right. And so in that context, in the mid-year review, we want to see how the finance minister would move beyond the levels we have attained to make intentional effort to bring in the necessary investments that are needed to steer and stimulate growth towards employment generation and all the issues that we talk about in this economy, really.
Well, the NPP, however, hinted of a 30 to 40% rise in fees and charges in the review. Here's former Deputy Minister Andrew Ejapamesa.
I do not expect much. After all, the budget was approved in only March. It's run only 3 or 4 months. I'm not sure there's a lot that has happened in the past 4 months that would significantly require him to provide us with any detailed update. I'm told that he's going to read a statement to outline where they are with some of the IMF measures that we started, that they are continuing. I'm also hearing that he's going to lay some subsidiary legislation on the fees and charges, okay? And Ghanaians will be saddled with some increase in the region of some 30 to 40% on all government services that we pay for. So unlike when we were promised in the past that the passport fee, for example, is going to be reduced, it's actually going to go up. Okay, all government services are going to go up. Property rates, everything is going to go up by some 30 to 40%.
Well, let's listen to Economic Policy Advisor to the Office of the Vice President, Dr. Sharif Mahmood Khalid.
Internal controls have become a very key issue, government expenditure being cut, because there's need to have a financial headroom to do a lot. You remember that we have to remember where we are coming from. We're in times where blue chip investments such as pensions were being touched in domestic debt exchange programs, among other issues, which went a long way to help the economy. So as a new government, all what it intends to do is to, whilst it wants to go for big ticket items like big pushers we've seen, the Women's Development Bank, 24-hour economy, etc., we're still trying our best to also have financial stability to cool off the economy before it can turn that corner that we are all looking for it to turn. Because if you are in an overheated economy and it doesn't cool off, there's no way you can turn a corner. So my expectation is that, okay, well, this is what we've been doing in the last couple of months since March. This is where we are getting to in terms of that. It's still a stability time. I don't think we've moved beyond that stability measure, where you would see central bank reserves doing very well. A gold board, which was also a campaign promise, has been now put in place where it has a functional board. A bill has been laid before Parliament is being approved. So in what I tend to talk about qualitative of some of these initiatives that have gone a long way to enhancing the economy positively is that in time past, we will probably have gold programs that were a bit erratic in how we dealt with them, that were not sustainable in how we dealt with them. But now we have legislation backing that. We have a functional board in the gold board in and of itself. This in and of itself goes a long way to enhance investor confidence, both locally and internationally. I remember just a few days ago, I was talking to an IFC wank at the central bank, and we're having a discussion, and we're talking about investor confidence among other issues. And we both agree that yes, we've reached a stage where there is investor confidence.
Well, let's take you live to Parliament now, where our Parliamentary Affairs correspondent Kweku Asante is with the very latest. Kweku, it's past 12 now. Proceedings haven't started as expected. What is causing the hold-up?
Well, the Finance Minister, I can confirm to you, has just arrived. Dr. Kassim Atoforsi and his team have now taken their seats in the Speaker's lobby, awaiting the Speaker of Parliament himself to walk in. There were certain reasons that were not explained to the public, but that is why the sitting was moved from 10 a.m. yesterday to 12 noon today, and it's 12:08 now. We expected that this proceedings would have begun. It hasn't, because absolutely no MPs have even taken their seats in the Chamber of Parliament. A number of minority MPs have been coming in wearing black. There is few of them not abiding by that dress code, obviously because of certain things that we've heard, which we'll get into pretty shortly. But the majority MPs are also coming in, some of them wearing white, as though they want to counter the black that the minority are wearing. So, well, proceedings haven't started 10 minutes after I was scheduled to. We expect that any moment from now, with the arrival of the Finance Minister, who has already taken his seat in the Speaker's lobby, any moment from now, the Speaker of Parliament will walk in and then gavel the House in session. Maame.
Well, Kweku, is the minority expected to be part of the proceedings? We heard earlier they are threatening to boycott the proceedings today.
Well, the information I'm just taking is that, contrary to what we've heard, this will not be a boycott in a stricter sense, because the minority will actually be in the chamber. But as soon as the Finance Minister is invited to deliver the statement, they will walk out. Because according to the minority, there are very important and pressing national issues that they are going to petition the president, the diplomatic community, CODEO, and a host of other international bodies on today, for which reason they do not believe they should sit through the presentation of the finance minister. So yes, the minority will be in the chamber, but just before the finance minister will get to the days and start his presentation, they will all walk out. In fact, if you go right in front of Parliament now, a number of buses have lined up, Land Cruisers are lined up ready for these predetermined action of the minority, who will all walk out and then fill in the buses and then move straight to the presidency. You will know that on Monday, the chief whip wrote to the president asking for an arrangement to be made so that they can present a petition to him. We cannot confirm if the president has responded and his satisfactory arrangement has been made for the minority to present a petition. But the minority said they are going to present a petition anyway. About an hour ago, we expected them to hold the news conference. That news conference has been delayed, but we do know that the minority are not going to sit through today's media budget presentation by the finance minister.
All right, Kwekwa Asante there giving us updates from Parliament. We'll go there again when the finance minister takes the podium to give us the very latest. But joining me in studio here is Caleb Ziblim of our research desk, telling us what to expect in the media budget. Caleb, what should we expect?
Yes, Maame, so we're expecting 4 big themes today. The first is our fiscal situation. So looking at how much the government has raked in so far in revenue and how much the government has spent so far. So we expect to see expenditure controlled due to the various steps the government has taken, like the no DSV policy or scrapping of the fuel allowance. And the minority has also accused the government that they are not spending. So when the budget comes out, it'll be interesting to see if for the first half of the year, the government actually met its spending targets. And also, we don't expect any new taxes, but we are looking out for that.
Right.
The second is the energy sector, which is the elephant in the room all the time. So that'll be another focus. And then we are looking at our debt to the IPPs. Has that gone up? Has it come down? The privatization of ECG as well, with the additional 1 cedi levy. Would the privatization move smooth as well?
Smoothly as well, okay.
And also Ghana's return to the domestic or international bond markets. Now that the rating agencies have improved us, we'll hear from the finance ministry if they intend to move to the bond markets as well.
But all right. Yeah. So what about the macroeconomic performance so far? What's the story?
Yes. So so far we've seen some stabilization. Inflation has dropped from 23% to now 13%. cedi has strengthened. It started the year at 14.7 to the dollar. It's now 10.5. We also have our gross reserves at 10.7 billion, up from 8 billion earlier this year.
Right.
And then fuel prices were down. Petrol was selling at 12.8 earlier currently, and then it started the year at 14. So from 14 now to 12. And then the same thing for diesel as well. And this is mainly because of the cedi and lower crude oil prices on the markets because of the oversupply of crude oil by OPEC.
Okay.
And then finally, we expect, based on our calculations, we expect the public debt to drop by almost 150 billion Ghana cedis. So that's what we are looking out for. So that will be a 19% reduction in Ghana's public debt.
That's good news.
Yeah, very good news.
All right, Caleb, thank you very much for that update. We'll certainly get back to Parliament and hear from the minister himself. But we can now listen to some expectations from the public.
What we need from the government in this new year budget is about the stabilization of the economy. They should try and make it stable. So the government should address those sectors. And I think the corruption is entering deep into our system. They should work hard on it.
I think the government should look at the private sector and give them a little support so that they can expand their businesses so as to be able to employ this unemployment graduates and other things in a way to support the government. I think the government should look at the infrastructural development also, especially our roads. They are not very good. And most of them leads to this rampant accidents that we have on their ways.
For goods that we are porting from the country to Ghana. But when they come to the port, the fee on the port is still higher. It's not yet reduced. So we are begging President that you're reducing the price on the port for us so that everything will come down for us.
During his campaign,
nkokɔ nketenkete saa nkokɔ nketenkete ne ɛbɛboa yɛ paa ɛnyɛ nkokɔ nko a nantwie nketenkete nyinaa ka ho bi ɛni ndwan nketenkete ne nyinaa yɛnyɛ ɔmo a wate ne mɛka na ase ne ɔma na adwen kɔ agrek no so a ɛbɛboa yɛ.
You had reactions from the Bono region. Let's hear from Kumasi.
First of all, the finance minister won't ask for more money. That's one thing that is top on the list of my expectations, that he doesn't ask for more money. And then also that new taxes shouldn't be introduced. And then if they are even introduced, it should be done in a way that Ghanaians will not feel like we are being cheated on it. It should be done properly and it shouldn't be imposed on us. And I already know of certain taxes that have already been imposed on us. So I am expecting that the finance minister would throw more light on those taxes and then why they exist. And yes, basically tell us what is in for us for the rest of the year.
Internally generated revenue or fund. Because Ghana, we have a lot of resources. How do we utilize it for the goodness of for the good things for the people of Ghana? But many a time they borrow money and people somewhere are now controlling how they do certain things. So I believe that we're generating resources within the country and utilize it for the good of the citizens. That would have been the best. And all utilizing what we have to process what we have into adding value to it to ensure that at least at the end of the day, let's say our oil, assuming we extract our crude oil, we process it in Ghana. If we don't have anything at all, at least we shouldn't have fuel being expensive. And once the fuel is being controlled, generating power, the transportation, and all that will be what? Reduced. We extract, we export, then we go and import what is processed. Why always? At least it's high time we start looking within.
This one here, Pepper, because petrol no much so. But then almost out to petrol. I go for full soon. Over here, you might be outside this kind of papa to fuel here. It's so much petrol no so. Never boy.
Na yantoshe, and yaman so 20 years too, yantishe so. No more with the other one, they were before young come.
And you had reactions from Kumasi in the Ashanti region. Some of them want a reduction in fuel prices. Well, we'll get back to Parliament. We have our eyes set there when the finance minister takes the podium. The atmosphere at Asumdre Park here in Accra, where hundreds of Ghanaians gathered to mark the 13th anniversary of the passing of former Vice President John Evans Atta Mills. President John Mahama, speaking at the wreath-laying ceremony, acknowledged the country's current challenges and said the research agenda he is championing is built on the foundation of the Better Ghana agenda initiated by the late President Mills.
He was always calm in the storm, a voice of reason, a voice of restraint, and a voice of hope. His was not the politics of insults or vengeance, but the politics of service, compassion, and reconciliation. Even in the face of provocation, he responded not with anger, but with grace. Even when confronted with betrayal or disappointment, he remains steadfast in upholding his principles. He never allowed power to change who he was. He remained until his last breath a servant of the people, a man of peace, a man of God, and a man of Ghana. As his vice president and one who worked very closely with him, I saw these values in action every day. I witnessed his concern for the most vulnerable in society, his tireless efforts to extend opportunity to every Ghanaian, regardless of background. He was not loud, he was not flamboyant. He believed that leadership should be lived and not performed. Professor Mills governed this country with a deep moral compass. He placed truth over expedience, and he puts people over politics. And he plays the country over self. These are the lessons that continue to resonate, particularly in these times when our politics can be very divisive and disconnected from the hopes of the ordinary Ghanaian. As we stand here at his resting place, we must ask ourselves, what does it mean to truly honor the memory of this great man? It is not enough for us to lay wreaths at his grave once a year. It is not enough for us to sing his praises in death. The most authentic tribute we can give Professor John Atta Mills is to carry forward the values that he held dear. Is to rekindle the spirit of humility and accountability. Rekindle the spirit of ethical leadership that he exemplified. He believed in justice, not just as a legal principle, but as a way of life. He believed that peace was not the absence of conflict, but the presence of fairness.
President John Dramani Mahama Dele. Let's speak to Presidential Affairs Correspondent Maxwell Agbagba. Maxwell, the President also made a commitment regarding the John Evans Atta Mills Memorial Library in the Central Region. What can you say about that?
Yes, Maame. So the Presidential Library, which was inaugurated in July 2016, was intended to serve as a center for research, education, and tourism in honor of the late President. Now it features a 100-seat auditorium, a 45-seat multimedia center, and many others. However, the facility has been left in a state of disrepair. Prompting some residents of Cape Coast even described the neglect as an insult to the memory and legacy of the late President. But President Mahama speaking today said work is already underway to renovate the facility.
Professor Mills Memorial Library. The Honorable Kofi Tobikwachi has been involved with that library from the time it was built. And after we left office, it was handed over to the University of Cape Coast, I remember. After we left office, it fell into a state of disrepair. And we had held this discussion already. And I can tell you that Kofi Totobi and a small group are already working on bringing that memorial library back to the shape in which it should be. And we can be sure that we will let it achieve the objective for which it was set up.
Well, the late President John Atta Mills was known for many memorable moments. Listen.
Our economy is resilient. Madam Speaker, when you are pronouncing such figures in billions, and I want to remind you that I didn't even know how to translate them into OPPP.
There is this thing going around that you are working towards the removal of the Chief Justice. How true is that rumor, and do you have any such intention to work for the removal of the Chief Justice? Thank you.
Please stay where you are. Look at my face very carefully. Listen to my voice. Do I look and sound like a cat hunter?
In fact, before I came here, I expected to be heckled. But let me say, Madam Speaker, that I did not expect the heckling to be so gargantuan.
My name is Kwame Sefakanya. I work at Peace FM.
By the way, have you drank tea?
For some curious reason, my gun deserts me on Wednesdays.
Memorable moments there with the late President John Atta Mills. Well, it's a good time to take a break. We'll return with more.
When
budgets are tight and money difficult to come by. You want to be sure you get the best value for your money. These are not times to be spending money fixing expensive engine problems because of cheap fuel and lubricants. Drive to a petrol source station today and buy your quality fuel and lubricants, and rest assured of fuel that lasts long and lubricants that prevent expensive engine problems. Hear the sound. Petrosol, clean fuel in full quantity.
When I wake up in the morning, I brush my teeth with Kale Charcoal toothpaste. This gives me confidence all day.
Anytime you meet Amma, don't be surprised I smile showing my beautiful white teeth because I don't have cavity thanks to Kale Charcoal toothpaste for its natural charcoal properties. In fact, we are like twins. I can't go without my Kale Charcoal toothpaste.
That be why I dey use Kale Charcoal toothpaste morning and night when I dey go bed safe. It dey make my teeth white when it dey comot every scent from my mouth inside. My confidence level they go up, so I dey show my 32 teeth all.
Introducing the Kale Charcoal toothpaste, formulated with activated bamboo charcoal powder, ensures whiter teeth and removes bad breath. The strong natural property of the activated bamboo charcoal removes bacteria, absorbs surface stains on our teeth caused by coffee, wines, and tobacco. Welcome, Kale Charcoal toothpaste. Kale Charcoal toothpaste, Sankofa Yenchi.
Kale, happy smile.
This advert is FDA approved.
Wherever you are, the game is nothing without you. It's on like never before this season. Every major league, every cup, every qualifier, the players, kudos, Semenyo, Iñaki, the goals, the emotions, and the bragging rights. It's all on SuperSport, available on DSTV and GoTV. Get your DSTV decoder at 89 cedis and GoTV decoder at 399 cedis. DSTV, your home of entertainment. Go TV. Love it.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's getting closer and closer. Yes, the Joy Sports Invitational Tournament at the University of Ghana Stadium on Saturday, August 9, 2025 is getting closer. So, have you called Sleven already? Well, if you haven't, this is the time to do so. So, are you a vibrant corporate brand here in Ghana? Well, you just call Sleven on 0540-106466 to register and be a part of this amazing experience full of great competition and wonderful networking. And this sure is going to be an amazing piece of corporate sporting action. The Joy Sports Invitational Tournament is put together by Joy Sports, the thrill of the game. I'm still asking that very big question. Which trophies are you taking back to the office? The CEO's penalty shootout, male soccer, female penalty shootout, unisex relay, unisex basketball, tug of peace, arm wrestling, lime and spoon relay, and swimming. Well, the ball is in your court. So now it's a must. Yes, you have to answer the roll call at the Joy Sports Invitational Tournament on August 9, 2025 at the University of Ghana Stadium. The Joy Sports Invitational Tournament is sponsored by Royal Sweet Limited, Akono Ginger, Ifriwara, Ayuda, Ghana's leading services app, Abako Services Bibre, Game Energy Drink, Feel the Energy, Yomi Yogurt, a nourishing choice, and the luckiest, star 712#, luck is everywhere. The Joy Sports Invitational Tournament is put together by Joy Sports, the thrill of the game.
Welcome back to the Midday News, and let's do National Science and Math quiz now. Not every school leaves the National Science and Maths quiz stage with a trophy or even a ticket to the next round. But for students of OT Senior High Technical School, the heartbeat or the heartbreak of defeat came with lessons in resilience, teamwork, and quite hope of trying again.
False. No. Every human being wants to achieve the best. In our way, we thought we have prepared, but we realized that the contest didn't fall in our domain. So we think when the opportunity is given to us once again, we will go to the drawing board and do a preparation much better.
Though I wasn't happy, but that's what has happened. Then we need also to prepare ahead.
At the end of the contest, OT Senior High Technical School 14 points,
St. Mary's Seminary Senior High School, Olobi, 42 points. Boyman Senior High School, 46 points.
It's a good time to do what's trending. This time around, we do it from Parliament, and Jackie and Sumayabwa is on the line with us. Jackie, what are MPs saying?
Well, Maame, good afternoon to you. I'm inside the chamber right now, and I've been interacting with some of the members of Parliament, especially from the minority side. And so most of them have been saying that they haven't seen any spending when it comes to the NDC, that's the government. They have a lot of things that they haven't done yet, even though they've launched some projects, but they haven't seen any spending yet. But then moving forward, they're expecting to see more from them today. So most of them have been that they haven't seen anything, but they're expecting the finance minister to talk about or address these issues.
All right. Thank you so much, Jackie, for that update from Parliament. And that's how we end the bulletin. However, we'll take you to Parliament in a moment where all eyes are fixed on the Finance Minister to get ready to deliver the mid-year budget review. It's a high-stakes address coming at a time when Ghana's economy is showing signs of recovery. Inflation is down and investor confidence is cautiously returning. But behind the numbers lie rising expectations as well, competing demands and growing political pressures. We'll take you to Parliament when the Finance Minister takes the podium.